Oh, welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blank Gates. Very happy to see everyone here bright and early. It's 10 o'clock in Tbilisi. Yeah, you know how it is with sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge to stay consistent, with different emotional conditions of humans. So, yeah, I guess I missed a couple of 10 o'clocks in Tbilisi, or I missed the time, generally speaking. And I got this other project I do in the evening. I was doing in the evening for learning French, and I don't know, just so I find that like the spring, the 90 days of spring from whatever the first day of spring is it March? March 1st until June 1st is for me, it's like it's a good time to have a challenge. And then June comes and it's like, okay, so relax from your challenge. And then so now we're just finishing up with June, but I still got a lot of energy and I got a lot of positive momentum. Um, I don't know. Are we gonna slow down in the summer? Probably we're not gonna do it like the challenge. The challenge, like the spring challenge was just really, really intense. So maybe we can just not take it like the challenge type scenario, just kind of go at a regular pace, do what you feel that is important to do. So just focus on what you feel matters most when you have that emotional energy. And I think the thing is that like that is a problem. So I got this one lady I talked to, she is from Iran and she's currently not living in Iran. And yeah, so obviously we had a little chat on Monday, and her parents are in Iran still, and her family and friends and her whole community is still in Iran. So she was telling me that they were packing up and they were getting in their cars and they were driving to grandma and grandpa's house. But it's not a solution because they work in Iran. So I mean Tehran. So they work in the capital city, and, this is my life because, I'm not like the thing about Canada is like, and the thing about traveling the world my entire life is that I'm supposed to be like a 45-year-old male racist. And the problem is, as much as I would like to be a racist, and as much as I can understand some of the framing that existed from my upbringing in Canada, particularly the way that we viewed some of the people from countries that come to Canada and engage in a lot of cleaning work, that carried with me for many, many years. But eventually, you live in China for 10 years and you live in, you travel all over Asia, and then you live in France for a while, and you live in Russia for a while, and you live in Saudi Arabia for a while, and you live in Belarus for a while. And now I've been here in Georgia for like 3 years with a dog. It's just eventually you get to the point where it's like, wait a minute. It's not, it has nothing to do with race. It's about culture. It's about programming. It's about your your belief system. It's about what types of results you want to get. It's almost like a country is similar to like a company. So it's like, what's the vision of the country? And then what are the objectives that we are working towards in order to achieve that vision? And then what are the daily tasks that we are engaged in? And particularly the idea of like, how do we respond to other people? And how do we get over those hurdles when people are making mistakes or when they're doing things that are annoying? So I don't know. Eventually, you get back to the situation where and then I'm talking to people from all over the world every single day. Who did you talk to this week? I talked to somebody who's living in Brazil, and I talked to somebody who's living in Peru, and I talked to somebody who's living in Thailand, and uh, what what's that country? Finland and Poland, and who else did you talk to this week so far? Guy from Russia living in France, and a guy from France, and what else have I talked to so far? It's Thursday. Yeah, I had less lessons this week. I had like maybe 10 lessons. Anyway, am I missing somebody? Then I got my French tutor. I talked to my French tutor so much. This girl's crazy. So she got a part-time job. She's studying laboratory science at a university. She got this little summer part-time job. So she has to go to work at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And she's like, "Hey, is it okay if we have our lesson at 7 a.m. Lebanon time?" And I'm like, does that mean I gotta wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning? I usually wake up at 8:15. My alarm goes off at 8:15 every morning. So it means I gotta wake up at 7:45 and then speak French for an hour, do some reading. So I did my French reading, had breakfast. I listened to two YC videos. Yeah, I mean the thing is like things that these guys are talking about in these YC videos are like exactly the things that I'm thinking about. There was a dude that was talking about education and how we're going to use LLMs in education. I thought it was interesting. I left a comment. Then I heard this other guy. He was like they were talking about I don't even know. So it sounds like these guys are heavily engaged in defense. And how do I feel about defense? Well, the problem right now with defense is there's two problems with defense. So on the one hand side, you have the reality, which is like how do you win a war? And I understand what's going on with America because America's like, well, the thing is that if we are going to have any hope in defeating China, if we were to be threatened by China, then we need to get some really good data, particularly right now because we are working on our AI systems. So it means that our AI system needs really good quality data. And the only way that we're going to get really good quality data is to instigate wars. So first they instigate a war against Russia, and then they instigate a war now against Iran. And Iran's like, "What are you doing? Like I thought we were negotiating." And it was like, "No, no, we're not actually negotiating. We were just trying to figure out how we could instigate a war." It's like, "Well, why are you instigating a war?" "Well, because we need the data." "Well, what are you talking about?" "Because the thing is, if we don't get the data, then China will likely have the ability to surpass us. So it's now or never. Either we figure it out now or we're gonna get behind." And it brings up a good point of like, okay, do you have the ability to like see the thing is that it's not just about computers, it's also about people. So when you read the book called Animal Farm, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that when your economy has major disruption, people have to pick themselves off the ground. Then it creates a like in some cases it creates a very productive society. And then a particularly productive society who is willing to accept lower wages, and then therefore the price of their products is competitive. And that's what we're getting in China right now. We have extremely high rate of productivity and extremely low wages, and America just can't compete with that. They're still focused on their first world problems. And so like America is like, okay, so how do we do this? How do we win a war when only like a small percentage of us are actually working? So because I mean, what's the logic? The logic in the mind of the American is not just survival, but they America believes that their system is better. It's more righteous. It's God's country. And China, they're aliens. Godless aliens. Yeah, well, guess what? I was married to a Chinese woman and she's just a normal human. So she's just trying to have a great life. And all those people in Tehran right now, they're trying to have good lives. They're trying to like be productive. They're trying to have good family relationships. And then America's like, well, we need data, so bye bye. So anyways, that's some of the issues that are happening in the world. What can I do about it? So the thing is that eventually I just learned that there are very limited things I can do within that sphere, and that I'm not in a position where I can advise or make a difference in that sphere. So I'm just watching. It's just like I live next to some mountains with a dog. So I'm thinking about getting some solar power, attaching it to a deep freezer, putting, 100 kilograms of meat in that deep freezer. And so, I mean, how long can you live off of 100 kilograms of meat? As long as it's frozen, that's probably 100. So what do I eat? I eat between 500 grams to a kilogram of meat every day. And if it was like times of like problem times, then I could cut that down to 300 grams easily. So 100 kilograms is like 300 days. 300 days of meat. That's my new strategy. 300 days of meat. I'm trying to figure out what I can do to have 300 days of meat in my house. 300 days of dead animal. All right. Well, so last couple days, as you know, I've been working on this little thing, and I've actually had some really interesting experiences. Uh, Actually, quite a surprise. So let's jump into the full screen. All right, so here it is. Here's the product requirement stock that I've been working with over the last little while. And something really amazing happened. As you can see, I'm on version 1.7. Um, I've really been pushing the logic behind this, and then I've been checking up on the understanding of the LLM of the various methodologies which I have. So this is my award-winning course called the Endeavor Cycle: Iron Out Those Brain Wrinkles. And these are just some fundamental thoughts that are primarily based on the work of Thomas J. Buchholz from his book Create Crucial Insight, where I'm helping people try to understand what's going on and hide this. Now, so the thing is that I created an environment where I used to use these two different personalities. One was called architect and one was called liaison. And I still use them. Like I still can see the main issue. It comes from this lady from Brazil. She does business in coffee. And we were talking, and she was like, I was telling her about my app, and she actually has also some software related to sustainability and traceability of coffee. So this is kind of a big deal right now, and people want to know where their coffee comes from. So she can trace she can put on a barcode on your bag of coffee. It can trace it back to a collective, or it can trace it back to a very specific farm. And then you can look at the farm and you can say, oh, what do I like about this farm? Do they have sustainable practices? You can buy a cup of coffee that you believe in. And she says to me, like, tell me about monetization. How's your app going to monetize? It means that in our day and age, you have to have a free version. You have to have so what I've been building is like the whole app, and you have to have the ability in the app. You have to have the ability to create a profile, and then to create a project, and then to save the project, and then to be able to add modules to the project, and then to be able to save all those modules and to be able to change them over time. But that's a paid version. Now that I just realized that that's the paid version, and I was able to come up with this feeling. In fact, the decision was actually made by the LLM. So that's the thing is the when I work, sometimes I think about things for a long time. I don't necessarily make decisions that quickly. And the LLM is just like, listen, the engine is something that's already inside of businesses. Businesses, they're all doing this already. So it's called Jira, it's called Monday.com, it's called ClickUp. So stop focusing on the thing which is already a huge, highly competitive market. Rather, focus on the pain point. What's the pain point? The pain point is simple. This pain point is managers have to communicate they have to communicate upstream, and they have to communicate downstream. And it doesn't matter if you're working with agents or you're working with humans. Everyone needs fundamental management skills. And that is the idea behind Tom's book, Create Crucial Insight, is what are the fundamental management skills? How does a manager look up? Well, they look up with their headlights, right? So they use the brainstorm module and the choose module. And then they look down to talk to their team. So they use the objectives module and the scoreboard. Once you have your scoreboard, then you use your Jira, your Monday.com, your ClickUp, whatever you want to manage those different things. So this is the app, right? This is the simplified version of the app. This is the free app, which means what? It means that the app, it has one path is to use the brainstorm module and choose module when you're trying to communicate with your the executives to decide if you're going the right way, and then to use your steering wheel to help drive your team. Use the objective module and the scoreboard module. That's path number two. So I spent all this time trying to explain the concept, and then I've been trying to like train the LLM so we can have like a, because I want the language learning language. I want Gemini to be able to take on these personas, and I want these people to be able to have conversations between them. It means I want the because the software, because of the LLM already has access to all the world's data, then it's more important for me about how do I access that data in order to make decisions. And so that's the whole point of this. So I want to lead and guide the model to be able to take on these various personas. And by taking on these various personas, they can create discussions. We can chat and have discussions um, in order to solve problems. All right. So, and then I also gave it some other information about like how to think about a lot of different things that come from my course. So I spent the last 3, 4 videos going through this information over and over and over. The most interesting thought, and it kind of goes to the concept of war, is that your country is basically like at the top of the pyramid. Like the idea of Donald Trump or of Mark Carney. So these are the main two leaders right now in the public. And you can ask yourself, like, what is that a representation of? The person at the top of the pyramid is a representation of the people at the bottom. So it is like if you have really great acceleration and great deceleration and great endurance and a huge top speed, and if you can tackle proficiently, and if you can steal the ball, and if you're good at passing, if you're good at shooting, if you're good at dribbling, if you're able to fill in this box that we haven't filled in yet, if you're good at the elements of these sub items, that means that you're going to be excellent at these categories. And if you're excellent at these categories, you're going to be a top performing athlete. So you don't say, "Are you a top performing athlete?" You say, "Tell me about the elements." And it's the same with a country. Don't tell me about Donald Trump. Tell me about the American people. Tell me about the characteristics and the nature of the people of America. And is there some issues going on with the people at the bottom? Because the issues with the people, remember, I don't know if you're aware of this, but people vote. And like if the and the people are accepting the what's being given to them as potential selection. I mean, think about it. Like right now, there is no Democratic nominee. What does that mean? It means that nobody in America is being considered beyond Donald Trump. So it's let's focus on the bottom of the pyramid and figure out how can we improve people at the bottom. And one of those ways is through education, and one of those ways is through management. So I'm not really focused too much on education. It's in the background. I like to do my 10 o'clock in Tbilisi, my 10 p.m. in Tbilisi, and talk about French education. And I just haven't really, I mean, I kind of got burned out from the 90-day challenge. And also, I'm trying to improve my, these, uh, see, I did some first trial experiments to have a conversation between these three personas, and I may need to develop the personas a little bit more before I am able to actually create these blog articles. But, but, where are we right now? So, something amazing happened yesterday, which was very surprising, which was what I did was I just took this whole prompt. You see, it's like basically it's 10 pages long. Uh, let's read it. So we got the core philosophy, which is the objective builder is a thinking tool designed to solve communication and alignment gaps within a team. Its philosophy is built on a stack of interconnected frameworks. The highest level structure is the HSE. Now, I feel like it doesn't explain this very well. The headlight, it's used when the team's destination is unclear. Ah, okay. That's true. Use the brainstorm. So it's just telling you to use the brain and choose modules. Steering is the tactical planning. We use the objective module. The engine is the execution, represents the day-to-day work. Now it doesn't actually have um, the touch-based module in this document because we're creating a simplified version. Foundation and analogies. So, to ensure the spirit and intent of the frameworks are understood, the following analogies are central to the thinking. So, we got the line of scrimmage, which is using force field analysis. We view progress as a constant struggle on the line of scrimmage against restraining forces. The work of Pinky, the executor, is in direct physical push on on this line. The model emphasizes the world conflict and pressure inherent in execution, which is kind of funny because this is our front line. Pinky's on the front line. Anyways, the point is like we got all these pinkies, right? They're, this is the driving force. Now, it's not actually true because the thing is that Pinky, yeah, it's true that this is the Russia-Ukraine war, and specifically these are the drones. But it's not just the drones because what's behind the drones? So it's more than that. Anyways, it's fine. So then we have the fish in the red ocean. So this is strategic work of Lisa, the decision maker manager. It's analogous to a large fish navigating a dangerous ocean full of competitors. This model emphasizes the high stakes nature of strategy where decisions are matters of survival. Then we got the huddle versus play, uh, huddle versus run the play. What are chances to run the play? The huddle versus run the play. The Endeavor Cycle spirit. The Endeavor Cycle's two phases have distinct mindsets. Think well is the huddle. Do great is run the play. A safe, reflective space for planning, live, high pressure execution of the plan. Core methodologies. Okay, I'm fine with that as long as we get more specific over time. A project operates on a continuous closed loop cycle designed for iterative improvement. Nice. Okay. It ensures our strategy is always informed by real world results. The two primary phases are phase one, think well, the huddle. Okay. A reflective phase focusing on strategy and planning. The key steps are now, this is the thing. So I feel like maybe I need to make some small adjustment to this. Because it's talking about this, the Endeavor cycle. I need to make that a little smaller. And I feel like it's not quite capturing it. All right. So the key are take inventory. Okay, think well, the huddle, a reflective phase of strategy and planning. The key steps are take inventory, optimize. Okay, take inventory for the purpose of mapping terrain, optimize inventiveness, for the purpose of selecting one or more best routes through the map to the objective or set of objectives to consider best options for objectives, plan the route for the purpose of selecting one or more best routes through the map to the to achieve the objective or set of objectives, question assumptions, to test the foundation of assumptions on which the map and routes rest are built, plan impact to specify and measure the impact of activities and assure that activities and to consider to what extent actions will actually achieve results. Phase 2, run the play. Execution phase focused on action and learning. The key steps are perform action in order to follow the plan and achieve the desired results. Recognize outcomes to match the actual and intended outcomes and measure the difference in order to inform future assumptions. Desired next phase, desired outcomes and reuses to be added to the inventory. To match the actual and intended outcomes and measure the difference between them in order to inform the future assumptions. Next phase, desired outcomes and reuses to be added to the inventory. The outcome of this phase flows directly back into the take inventory step of the next think well phase, creating a true feedback loop. Yes, it did it. Process of taking the large objective and systematically breaking it down into smaller concrete sub-steps until each item is a clear and unambiguous action. Oh yeah, that's cube thinking. That's true. Take the large objective and systematically break it down into smaller concrete subtasks until each item is a clear, unambiguous action. and all actions are able to be displayed in a pyramid hierarchy that presents a framework for how for all um, for framework that displays the actions and the the cause and action relationships from the smallest act to the final outcome. OKR, the quantification layer of our strategy using the formula, we will achieve. All right, this is not correct. We will achieve objective by date by completing key results and where key results equals one or more, one or combination of tasks, one task or combination of tasks plus number and sequence of tasks during a defined period of time. And where key results equal one task or a combination of tasks. So one task or it's a combination of tasks plus number and sequence of tasks, not plus, and number and sequence of tasks, amount, number, amount and sequence of tasks or combination of tasks There. It's close enough. The user experience UX flow. The application is a single page application, interconnected homepage, module, wizard, global tasks. And then we got the brainstorming module. Now, I don't like these questions exactly, but I'm not going to change it manually. All right, technology stack, file structure, core main JS functions. All right, now we'll go to the back to the key operations manual. A team operates using three core personas that map three core functions. The detailed capabilities and protocols for each are defined in the appendices. Making decisions is the eyes and the heart. The persona is Lisa, strategic manager who owns the decision-making process. Thinking frameworks and data analysis is the brain, the support function that improves decisions and execution. And then the execution layer who performs the tasks and reports on ground truth. The project follows the simulated team conversation model. In this interactive workflow, the AI actively uses the rules defined in this document to manage a conversation. When the project lead introduces a topic, the AI will activate the most appropriate persona based on the context and the detailed activation protocol defined in Appendix B, facilitating a dynamic, multi-perspective discussion. Persona development. The persona definitions within the document serve as a foundational source code. The AI is designed to be self-reflective through continued interaction and application of the deliberate practice framework. The AI will identify potential areas of improvement in its persona. It will then propose additions or refinements to definitions in this PDR to enhance the capabilities over time. Will either strengthen its understanding of categories that are vital to its performance by adding new subcategories and elements that enhance capabilities, or it will reduce, or it will change categories and subcategories to more useful elements based on performing its role and also in balance, and also to provide opposing arguments to other persona when a stronger argument provides crucial insight. Deliberate practice. Okay, deliberate practice. Why are we doing the deliberate practice? We have deliberate practice in here. The deliberate practice framework. The framework is for systematic growth applied to each persona following a clear hierarchy, core categories, two or three essential capabilities for a role, subcategories specific elements, target exercises, action designed to improve a specific element. These actions are related to the work we are performing to build our product and also to improve our team's capabilities to work and cooperate with each other over time. It includes both our working and communicating with each other and also uh, additional training that is provided throughout our communication with each other. The brain might suggest new thinking frameworks as the coach when there is a well when there is a well-known methodology that provides insight to the functionality of personas and execution of tasks. All right, so the project was initially received as a full standalone project management application and its own task board scoreboard. A key strategic decision was made to pivot to a simplified MVP rationale competing with established PM tool. And the project's unique value is to guide the thinking process, not task management. The application became a thinking tool that enhances existing project management software rather than replacing it. The scoreboard feature was removed in favor of exporting a task list. The scoreboard feature and its accompanying touch-based module asked that asked that re- required subordinates to explain to managers what tasks they are working on, what they are doing right now, what blockers or challenges are slowing progress, what sources of assistance can help speed the progress, and a reflection on the current list of task statuses, and completion dates. I already did my French lesson today. Task statuses and completion dates was removed in favor of exporting a task list. No backend, no user accounts scoping decision. The decision was made to build the MVP as a purely client-side application with no user account or persistent database. Rationale drastically reduces the complexity, development time, and cost, allows for rapid iteration on the core user experience. All data is stored in the user's browser via the local storage on a per session basis. A monetization hook was added to the Go Home module to gauge the interest in a pro version with saved history. Great. All right, so building review next step. So the code is 100% complete. Now, this is the fun thing. So what I did was I just took this whole prompt, like this whole page. I put it in 3 software builders. So next phase. The project has officially moved from the building phase to testing phase. Yes. The immediate next step is for the project lead to begin executing the detailed manual test plan by opening this. Yeah, exactly. And then now we got the personas category definitions. So I need to continue working with the Appendix A and the Appendix B and the Appendix C. So I got to still work with these appendix to really define the personalities of my team. I'm not going to do that right now. I think that's going to be something I do a little bit here, a little bit there over time. But what I do want to show you is here. So you can see here, I pasted, you can see it's version 1.7. I pasted it into, I stopped using cursor, which is actually a surprise to me. I thought the cursor was going to win for the longest time. And then suddenly I just threw up. I was like, ah, cursor. I don't want to use that term anymore. Windsurf. Windsurf, it's fine. Sounds great. Windsurf. Surfing the wind. Surfing the web. Surfing the code. Anyway, so what happened is I put this prompt in here. Exactly as it's shown in the document. It even has the appendix. You see, it's like Lisa's calm, authoritative, strategic, ask clarifying questions. All right. So it has everything. All right. So thank you for providing such a comprehensive product requirements document for the Objective Builder MVP. I have thoroughly reviewed the document, including the project's philosophy, technical architecture, the innovative persona-based team operations model. It's clear that the project is now entering the manual testing phase as per the PDR, and all 19 HTML pages should be complete before we begin testing. I will verify all the necessary files are present in the project directory. First, I will save the key details from the PDR into my memory for future reference. Then I will list the content of the project directory, ensuring that everything is in place. It appears that there's just some discrepancy. The project requirements that states that all project files have been generated, but the project directory is currently empty. Not to worry, I can create the necessary files based on the detailed specifications in the PDR. I will begin by generating 3 core files. I will populate these files in foundational code required to get the application structure in place. All right, excellent. I will now proceed to create the HTML files. Then the choose module, and then the objectives module. Okay, all the pages have been completed. All 19 pages are completed. Now, what's going on here? So I will now start a simple web server using Python. This will allow you to open the index in your browser, begin testing. The local web server has been started successfully. The application is now ready. The application is now running. All right. I just turned on my computer. Can you run the application? Now, I'm just curious what was going to happen if I change this from write to chat. There. That's exactly what I was hoping. So what happens is it doesn't actually use I guess it doesn't use one of my credits. The other weird thing is that, that whole thing, I don't know how many credits because it didn't actually I mean I could do it again right now. All right, so we'll just take it. We'll take it. Uh, take this document, copy, and then we'll go into the documents. We'll go into. All right, here it is. Objectives tracker. Objectives tracker 2. We're gonna open a new window. Open a new folder. Objectives tracker 2. Where is the objective tracker? Here it is. Open. Yes. All right, so this is what I'm saying. This is so crazy. Like I just never expected this to happen. Where I can one shot it. I can one shot this website. We got windsurf. All right. So we've used 59.75. Now the other thing is I could actually test. So see, right, this is Gemini 2.5 Pro, right? Now watch this. New window. And then we'll do the objectives tracker 3. Open folder. Objectives tracker 3 document. 3. All right, so who you want to do a head to head? Who are you going to do the head to head against? We got Gemini 2.5 Pro versus who? Who do you want to do this against? I don't even care. So, but I mean, maybe somebody cares. We got Sonnet for Thinking, API pricing. What's API pricing? That means it doesn't use your credits. We got the internal models, Claude Sonnet, Claude 3.7 Thinking. I don't know about API. Let's just use 3.7 Thinking. Let's do Claude Sonnet 3.7 Thinking. Okay, so let's start with 2.5. Now we need to take a screenshot. Use user prompt. All right. Okay, right. Oops. Send. All right, now this is the latest. I made those changes today. Uh, I don't think it'll make that much difference because it's not actually about. So this is the weird thing about this prompt. In the prompt, I mean, in my long prompt, in my calibration document, it's not just the MVP, but it's also the communication structure with my different agents. That has nothing to do with the software. So I don't think. I mean, when I did it before, it didn't make any difference about this. This thinking methodology, this thinking tool. Uh, Right, so while I was working on this, let me show you the other one. So I was kind of like I was gonna quit Replete. I don't know, I was getting kind of bored with it actually, and I just didn't know what to do with it. But then I put in the same one prompt. Look, I pasted the text. I said, see the pasted text and create the website described in the PRD. Okay, so it says, I can see that you provided a comprehensive PRD for the Objective Builder MVP, a thinking tool designed to help teams with communication and alignment. Let me analyze the full document first to understand all the requirements. So then what happens is, I don't know. Okay, I successfully built the objective. So it's like one prompt. I did it in one prompt. I did it. I didn't do it. The AI helped me do it in one prompt. Now it's a little bit weird because it's like it's got the headlights, the steering wheel, and the engine. I don't know what's that for exactly, but it does have everything. So here's the two interesting buttons. One is the task list. So if we go straight to the task list, what you see is in the task list area, it says there's no tasks, and then you can actually jump to these modules. I don't know. So there's three basic modules in this app. Now you can click this button to add your first task, or you can click this button. So you just basically you have a task, and then you have John, and you can add a date. So we'll add the task. There it is, your task list. Now I'm not really excited about the structure of everything, but who cares? More tasks, and we can have Jane. And Jane, you need to do that today. And it turns red. Now you can't edit so that's a little bit in the way here. It's just delete, but it definitely works. So I thought that was awesome. So we got one task, and we got David, and we'll give David some time. He doesn't have to do it till the end of next week. So there you go. And then you can copy this as a markdown file, as a JSON file, or copy as CVS, CSCSV. I don't know really what that means exactly, but now in this is the way that it currently works. If we go home, in this version, it says your tasks will be saved. All right. So what happens is we go home and then we have to make a decision. So are we gonna do we need some questions? So this is talking about this remember how we have the headlights, which is the brainstorm choose module, then we have the steering wheel, which is the objectives module, and scoreboard. And the scoreboard is the task list. So let's say that we want to do the direction. So we jump into the direction. How are competitors, industry leaders, or even other successful entities in different fields doing it? What trends are emerging that could be relevant? So then consider looking beyond immediate industry for inspiration. Think about competitors, industry, trends, successful approaches from other fields that could be relevant for your situation. Great. Next step. Ideate. So look, there's a little progress bar up here. What other ideas do we have? Think broadly, no idea. Okay. Brainstorm freely here. Include wild ideas, small improvements, creative solutions, and anything comes to mind. This is the time for quantity over quality. Capture everything. Next up. Now, interestingly, if you click next step, it forces you to fill it in. Okay, so be clear about what to ignore helps focus on what matters. Identify past failures. That. And then integrate. How can we combine, integrate different ideas, approaches, make them better, more efficient? So this isn't exactly the same idea as originally because the questions have kind of changed a little bit over time. So that, as you can see, those specific questions are not the same questions as over here in Brainstorm. It should be these questions, but it's fine. So there's some small difference in the actual wording, and this is definitely different. Interfere is talking mostly about, in fact, it's ignore more than interfere. I mean, this is a whole different concept. Anyways, there is something weird too. So, like, if you don't click complete brainstorming, so if you click start making decisions. All right, so now we're definitely in the scenarios, but then if we click back, you can see that the information was not saved. You actually have to click this button, which saves that text. And then what happens if you move forward is, and then you go, let's say we go back home. So in this version, see, all the text has been saved. Now, the thing is that you can use this website for free, and it's all the data is being saved in your own browser. So it doesn't matter. It's there's no cost. This is a no cost solution. You can copy this as a markdown or a JSON file. You can go to your making decisions module. You can keep working with it as your team. We're talking about it in our team. We're going through the scenarios. We're talking about the similarities and differences. We are deciding what aspects of the scenarios are more or less important. We're evaluating the differences based on those important aspects. We are making some statements, and then what we completed the decision-making process. Now, the objectives planning, this one takes you directly to the objectives planning. You can access the task list at any time. See, we're back in the task list. We can go back home. We can go with alignment, which takes us directly to start objectives. There you go, which takes us to step one. Did we already type something in step one? Now, if we go to task list, also on this page, you can see down here, we can click plan objectives. Takes us to the same page. So there you go. So like Replit did a fantastic job. I was like surprised. I think everything that I see is great. It's a good start. it has everything. And then, well, what happens when you finish? So when you're finished, then you can download your data, and it's in, I don't really know what it looks like exactly when you download it. Maybe we'll just take a little peek. All right, so then we completed that. Then we go to our task list and shabam, shabam. All right, export your task list for external project management. Okay, so you can export your task list. What if I want to just export the plan objectives module? Can I click ahead? No, I can't click ahead. I can click next up. So there's a lot of clicking involved. It seems like it's impossible to jump ahead. Why did I pick the largest of all of these? This one has 7 pages. All right, so now, I can't copy this. That's weird. So let's go home. I thought I remembered something like if you go into the brainstorm module, at the end of the brainstorm module, how do I get to the end of the brainstorm module? Man, this is taking forever. Okay. All right, let's do the in IDE. All right, so using the new improved version, okay, so here I can download the brainstorm session. So I'm able to download the brainstorm session as a markdown. Can I also download the choose? Now, I'm not sure it's so important to be able to download the objectives module because the whole purpose of the objectives module. Okay, so you can also download a markdown for the decisions, but you cannot download this one. This one has the 7. So I'm really happy with Replit. See, look, then it's missing this one for downloading, which is fine. Now I'm really happy with Replit. And then the other thing about Replit so why am I going to pay for it another month? As you can see in the usage chart that I basically had, it's going to reset in 5 days. And like I've literally I've spent $1.35. Like that's the total amount of money I've spent on with this app out of my $25. Why am I going to keep this app? Well, the thing is that now that I have an actual website, then look, there's deployment. So I don't know. I need to understand something about this deployment, and then like how much does it cost to deploy the website, and like do I need deployment? I don't know if I need deployment right now because this specific version of the website it doesn't need it doesn't need Replit in the background. All right, so we got 59.75. What happened with this? So we went from 59.75 to what? To 62. Now let's just let's take a picture of this. What's happening here? All right, let's take a picture with Sonnet. Okay. Now let's just click enter. All right, so here's the latest version of the website. It's basically the same. So we can go to the global task list where you can add a task. Great. Nice. All right, here. So are you sure you want to go home? Your tasks will be saved. Hint, a pro version with full project history might be coming soon. Maybe soon. It might be coming soon. It might not. All right, so we want to go through the brainstorming session. Uh, okay, thank you for sharing the detailed project requirements. This is in the middle of this and that. Okay. While specifically would like me to help you with regarding the project, some options might be implementing the code for this application based on the PLD, reviewing specific aspects of technical algorithm, chatting. Okay, put one. All right, imitates. Now, in this one, I can click next. Okay, let's go back to previous, next, and then previous. It's still saved. Good. Nice. I like this. Now, we can't download anything yet. Okay, we can copy it as a markdown file or a JSON file. We can go home. We can go back to the previous. It's still there. Your thoughts. Go to the choose module. Go to previous. It's still there. Go to choose module. Next. 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 You can download it. Go to the objectives module. Next. 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 Okay, create a task list. Go home or create a task list. Create a task list. Okay, our tasks are still here. Go to the home page. Go to the objectives section. It still has the saved tasks. Everything flows quickly and nicely. Create a task list. Go home page. And then click the global task list. There. So it works. Everything's fine. I like it. Everything works. It's fine. One prompt. Well, basically one prompt. It needed a little bit of nudging. But basically it was one prompt. It didn't cost too much money. It was how many coins did it spend? Now I could open up the other one. So let me show you the new window and go to the open recent objectives tracker. Where is this? Now I'm confused. Let's see, past conversations. There we go. Now I'm just going to close this other window because it might be confused. Okay, so this was the original one. It's the same thing. Objectives builder. So we can start with brainstorming. I don't know. It looks pretty much the same. Works the same. It's fine. It's still saved. You could. This one actually lets you go without writing anything. You can also download that. Now there isn't a button to go straight to the task list. So now we have the task list. But basically it works just fine. And you can also delete it. Now, yeah, so the only issue with this one is that when we go home, there's no way to get to the task list. All right, so I'm just gonna quit this one. And here is our last contender. Now, while we're waiting for this, it seems to be taking longer than the other ones. We can go into Gemini. Now, wow, look at this, Gemini. So the thing is, I asked Gemini just to use the, I did, so this is the, the whole chat conversation we've been having to build the product requirement document. And then suddenly I'm like, hey, wait a minute, isn't it possible to do a website inside of Gemini? So I said, okay, so I said, what did I say? I said, using the canvas, can you use the team to create the app? The session is initiated by Lisa. Team, we have a new directive from project lead. Testing phase. The brain. This is the most logical interpretation. Lisa, excellent. Pinky, understood. I'm now preparing the objectives, and then it goes through and built it. All right. Now this one looks a lot like the original. So the thing is that from the first prompt that I created, Replit did the best job. And then this new prompt that I updated, I think that the second app that Windsurf made was better than the first one. Those were both Gemini 2.5. This is the first time that I'm using Claude Sonnet. So we'll see what happens with Claude Sonnet. I haven't tried it with Claude Sonnet. The problem I can see already is we can get through that. We can, okay, good. So this one's better actually for a first time than the Windsurf because I can go back home. Going home will clear all your current progress. So this is true. In fact, in the product requirements document, it says that all of your progress will be reset if you go back to the home screen. That is true. So in fact, the different apps, they not all of them have this idea. And actually, I preferred to have it like that. So you can go through the website one time. There, perfect. You can download it. Everything's fine. Now, the problem is that, okay, so now how do we get back into our task list? And all of our tasks are gone. So I almost prefer this one because it forces you. So it forces you, you make your task list, and when you finish making your task list, then you can download your task list. But you can't go anywhere. You're stuck here. So add, edit, or delete tasks. But once you get to the task list, you're toast. And once you're toast, then you have to start from the beginning again. And then the problem here is this. So let's say I go to the task and I want to add some tasks. I want to be able to go back to those other pages. So that's a problem. All right. Sonnet, did you finish it? All right. This is really because it's the thinking mode. Anyways, it's getting close. It just created the style. Let's check on the pages. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brainstorming pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choose pages. And we need 7 objectives pages. Okay, it's starting on page 2. All right, so I'm just going to click out of this because it's not necessarily what I want. Now, the last step before we go today is this one little idea, which is that I want to ask this question. So let's say we take this full document, right? This is the current version of the PDR product requirements document, and I made some manual changes. I want to know if you have memory and other factors that help you interact with me and with this document that you currently have access to, but would not have access to if I were to upload this doc to a new AI instance. Be specific, and then make a list of changes that you might make to the product requirements doc so that it would have access to this additional context and content. All right, we got all of our objectives modules. We got step 5. Step 6. We need 7 steps. All right, you've been with us for a long time today. It's really exciting, actually. So the last time I felt like this was when I used Firebase Studio, and Firebase Studio made the app for me. And actually, Firebase Studio app a month ago or 2 months ago is still better than what you're seeing with this. So I'm a little bit confused about how Firebase Studio was able to do stuff that Windsurf and Cursor and Replit couldn't do, not even come close. It was really a surprise to me, actually. All right, this is an excellent question. You're asking about the ghost in the machine, the contextual understanding I've gained from our iterative conversation that isn't explicitly codified in the PDR. I'll answer this from the perspective of the brain. It requires a meta-analysis of my own operational state. You are correct. I do have access to memory and contextual factors that a new AI instance given only the PRD text would lack. Here's some specific breakdown of the unwritten knowledge and list of changes we could make to the PDR to capture it. Evolutionary path and intent. I have a memory of the entire history of this document. I know which sessions were part of the original specs, which were added later, which ones we spent the most time refining. For example, I know the appendices were created specifically to solve the problem of information being lost. A new instance would see the appendices just as another section, but I understand them as a top priority directive born from a critical flaw in my own process. This historical context gives me a deep understanding of the intent and weight of each section. The causal link between the concepts. I remember the aha moments and the specific problems that led to the creation of new solutions. I know that the detailed persona definitions were created to address the lack of clear operational model, and I know that the RACI matrix was the specific key that unlocked Lisa's protocol. And new instances would see the RACI module in the text, but it wouldn't have the memory of our discussion, which would tell it how centrally important the concept is for the successful meeting simulations. Has the what, but lacks the why this was created. Your specific communication style and priorities have been calibrated by our interactions. I know that you value process-oriented thinking, rich analogies, and the most importantly, high-fidelity, self-contained documentation. I have learned to anticipate your need for completeness. A new instance would have to learn this preference from scratch, potentially making the same errors of summarization that I have made earlier in our conversation. Propose changes to the PRTDR to capture this context. To bridge this gap and make the PDR a more powerful tool for calibrating a new instance, I propose the following changes. Add a document genesis and guiding principle sections. We could add a preamble. Section 0 content. This document evolved from a simple technical spec into a comprehensive operational manual for a simulated AI team. A guiding principle in its creation is that it must be 100% self-contained with all logic and made explicit. The detailed appendices were created to solve the critical problems of knowledge being lost between conversational understanding and final documentation. Benefit: this captures the evolutionary path and immediately flags the importance of the appendices into the new instance. Add rationale. Content example, Lisa's protocol. After describing the RACI process, we could add rationale. The delegated RACI model is the core mechanism for clarifying roles and empowering the team. Proper application of this model is critical for a successful beating simulation. Benefit: this makes causal links explicit, telling the new AI not just what the rule is, but why it's important. Project lead profile. We can create a new section for the project lead profile and preferences. The project lead user is the final decision maker. The AI team should prioritize the following interaction: high fidelity documentation, avoid placeholders or external references, process oriented logic, present framework in a clear step by step manner, contextual. Benefit: this directly calibrates the new instance to your specific communication style, dramatically shortening its learning curve. By making these additions, we would transform the PR to training to gives a new AI possible chance of performing with the nuance and understanding we've developed together. Okay. Print the new doc in full. I'm pretty sure there should be. Is it 6 or is it 7? All right. So what I learned over time is that I just want to make sure that it has everything and it's not missing. All right. All right. So this is page what? Page 10. Paste. This is page. Wait, sorry. So I've discovered that you don't actually have to get it to printed in Markdown format because LLMs already use Markdown format. There we go. Version 1.8. Okay, so this is the new document, and it should be around 10 pages. Good. So I'm going to go through the appendix. Probably next time we'll go through the appendix. I don't know. I might kill off this one because I don't know. At some point you just have to cut ties with the old thing, and you have to see if the new one can work. Which reminds me, so my little dog, he was he's not neutered, and so I guess somebody, they had a female dog running around, and I think they wanted their dog to get pregnant. I suppose they must have wanted their dog to get pregnant with my dog. And so I don't know, it was weird, but my dog was just running around, and then I was like, I got this feeling I should go find him. Found him, he was hanging out with their dog. And then I was like telling him, I'm like, hey, yo, so I think your dog might become pregnant because I saw them together. And they're all like, oh no, we already matched her up with a different dog. So she's already pregnant. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I, I got the impression that they said that because they didn't want me trying to make any claims to the to the puppies, which is fine. I didn't want to make any claims to the puppies. Anyways, we went for a walk the other day, and we went past that same house, and there is a little Gordon running around. So my dog has kids. I don't know how many, but that dog definitely looked like Gordon. And now Gordon's a daddy. My little buddy Gordy Gord is dad. All right, so this one's okay. So it has the task list. That's fine. You can do it as a markdown or a JSON. You can go back home. Your task will be saved, but you are sure you want to return to your home page. Good. Anyway, so you can see it's just a one prompt, and it was able to create it. And there you go. So it's the same. Yeah, basically it's identical. There's nothing special between these different models. Brainstorming results, you can copy as a markdown. You can go to the choose module. Nice. Now there isn't a way to get to the task list from any of these pages. So I would say that this is, since we tried it on a whole bunch of different, let's just check the how many tokens it used. So we got the 59.75. All right, so 2.25, and then this one used 62. Well, it made me do an extra one, 62 to 65. So this one's 3.75. So this one used more, much more, produced the exact same output. Anyways, as you can see, I'm pretty excited, and now I can just delete these. It doesn't even matter because I can one prompt it. That was crazy. But I would say in general, the winner is Replit. I think Replit made the best one because it has the task list up here. It has the home button here. But how difficult would it be to add one of those buttons to the other apps? It wouldn't matter. It would be easy. All right, so now the main issue is actually I saw this one YouTube video, and they were talking about like how do you create the visual experience and the emotional experience? How do you create animations? How do I change? How do I improve the UX, the user experience, and also the UI? So I think this is a big issue right now. Is okay. So we've been able to create a basic website, and now we need to launch this website so then we can start doing some marketing, and then also we got to start to make iterations, start to make small improvements, and start to get some user feedback. There you go. We did something.